Do you want to know how much you're actually spending in a month? Do you want to take control of your finances for you to achieve your goals? If the answer is yes, then this video is for you. Hi friends, this is Steph and welcome to another vlog. In this channel, I share my personal experiences in areas of personal finance, self-development, and life learnings. If you haven't subscribed yet, please click the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, like this video, and share this to your friends. Hey, are you the person who has actually been working for years but still you have no savings? Or if you're a student and your allowance gets depleted immediately and you often wondered where that went? Do you want to be debt-free? Of course you want to be debt-free. So today, guys, we will be discussing a very effective tool that when used consistently I believe, will solve a lot of your financial problems. Most often this is underestimated, but believe me, this will really help you a lot. So I am referring to budgeting, or the use of budgets. We will structure this video by first discussing what is budgeting. Next, we will discuss the importance of doing budgets and how to make a budget. And lastly, how to stick to it. So ano ba talaga ang budgeting? What is budgeting? So to me, I could think of the simplest definition as it is planning how to best use or allocate your income. So for example, if you have 25,000 pesos of income, how do you plan to spend it? How should you spend it? So basically, budgeting helps you understand how much money you are earning and where this money should go. Most often, the reason why people get into debt, palaging nagkakautang, or we do not have any savings at all is because we don't keep track of the finances. So basically, that is the reason why it is important to budget. So we will discuss the reasons, the three main reasons why we need to budget. Number one, it keeps our finances in order. So instead of just mindlessly spending our income, it is better that we have a financial plan, or another term for that is a spending plan. Second reason is that through budgeting, it will help us understand our spending and saving habits. So if you are used to doing budgets, you will now be able to identify the things and the activities that you will spend most money on. So by doing this, or by seeing this, you can now by little adjust your spending on that specific expense and then turn that into savings, a lot more money into savings. And lastly, budgeting helps you achieve your financial goals. So this is the most important part. So once your finances are now in order, you can now easily see the benefit of it. Okay, little by little, nababayaran mo na ang mga utang mo, and then you will now have more savings. And then eventually, your savings will now turn into investments, which is actually great. So how do you actually make a budget? There are many ways of doing a budget. You can use the traditional way, which is through pen and paper, or you can use a more modern way, such as using budget apps or spreadsheets. Personally, I enjoy using spreadsheet because I can easily customize it. But if you have other ways, better ways of doing your budget, please share it in the comment section below. But for the purpose of this video, we will be using spreadsheets. To begin with, open a spreadsheet and put the budget headers depending on the format that you want. We have these elements on a budget. The first one is your income. This is the money that comes in. Next is your expense, or the expenses. These are your spending. And the third one is your net income. This is what is left from your income after the spending. Or simply stated, this is income minus your expenses. However, I modified my budget template by deducting first my savings before the expenses. In this way, I can always be sure that I have already set aside a portion of my income to savings no matter what happens. So whatever is left is allocated then to expenses. If you are in a more advanced level, you can also include a portion of your income as allocated to investments. So we now have two deductions. One is for savings and the other one is for expenses. In creating a budget, you actually needed these steps. Number one is to list all your sources of income. It could be from your salary, part-time job or business, or your other side hustles. This may vary from each person, so put whatever applies to you. The next step is to list all your expenses. Try your best to include all the possible expenses that you will incur in each month, because this is relevant in making a reliable budget. You can always base this from your previous spending, so just try to recall those expenses. To make things faster, I already have a sample list of expenses that we can use for this video, so I'll just copy this one. Just a trivia, guys, we have 3 different types of expenses. Number 1, we have fixed expenses, which are constant every month. It does not change per period. Good examples for that are rent and insurance. You will just be paying the same amount of rent per month. The second type is the variable expense. These expenses change every month depending on your consumption. The amounts may be decreased or increased. Good examples for that are utilities, groceries, food, transportation. You may choose to reduce your electric consumption per month, right? Also for groceries, the amounts may also vary per period, depending on your needs and wants, and so on. The good thing about variable expenses is that you can control these amounts. Lastly, we have discretionary expenses. These are non-essential expenses, meaning these are not necessary. You can choose not to have these expenses, as these are more of wants than needs. You can probably get by without this. Examples are leisure, entertainment, beauty, traveling, etc. The next step is to complete the budget, actual, and difference columns. So we have here budget, actual, and the difference. Budget amounts are the estimates. These are the amounts that you set or plan, while the actual amounts are the real or exact amounts of the income or expenses for a specific period. Difference column will show if you overspend or underspend in a specific area. This will show the results if you have followed the amounts you set or not. Our goal here is to get a 0 or positive difference. For income, it is better that the actual amounts are higher than the budgeted amounts, since this is cash inflow. For the expenses, it would be better if the actual spending is lower or the same with our budget, since this is our cash outflow. Next is to set the budgeted amounts. In setting these amounts, be sure to be realistic. So here, for example, your target income is 15,000. For your part-time job, you have 5,000, and your business income, targeted income is 6,000. And then calculate the total income. We get 26,000. This is the amount that you're going to budget, meaning this is the basis on how you will set amounts for your expenses. Simply stated, your total deductions below should not exceed 26,000 or whatever amount that you set in. So let's try to plot in the deductions. I already have sample amounts for this. So let's just copy this one. Please set whatever applies to you. And let's get the total of the deductions. Since we are doing the budget column, the net income will be 0 since we will allocate the whole amount to specific expenses. And do not worry, since we already set aside an amount for our savings as part of our deductions. So let's try to get the net income. This should be 0. There. The next step is to monitor the actual amounts. Usually, we have the same amounts in the budget and actual columns from our regular job, since this is fixed income. So this will just be the same. We are expecting the same amount per month. What usually changes are the side hustles like our part-time job and our business income, because part-time jobs are usually paid hourly. And of course, it is really expected that business income varies per period. So for example, your actual part-time job is 4,500 for that period, and your business income is 6,400. And then get the totals. Just drag the formula. Completing the actual amounts takes a while, like a month, because we will record what actually happens within a specific month. So we record the expense as it happens. Income is a lot easier to monitor since we receive this not as often as we incur expenses. What I mean is that transactions are lesser for income compared to the expenses. Because of this, we need to set up an expense tracker to monitor the actual expenses. We do not need to track every day the fixed expenses and the savings, like rent and insurance, because we all know that these amounts do not change. So we will just copy the amounts we set for the budget. What we should track actually is our variable and discretionary expenses, since these amounts may vary. So in our example, we have here utilities down to leisure and entertainment. These are variable and discretionary expenses. You actually need to get into the habit of recording these expenses so that you will see the true picture of your finances. So let's create your finance or expense tracker. No need to worry because I will set up the formula. All you need to do is to put in the amounts. So please use this tracker every time you spend something. Above, you will put the different expense categories for your variable and discretionary expenses. So you have utilities down to leisure and entertainment. So I'll just copy what I've made to make things faster. And then get the totals for the entire month and also the daily totals. So this is the per month totals below. We'll just set the formula. And then get the per day totals. Alright. So again, please use this every time you spend something. So if you have different expenses every day, it is expected that you have different entries per day. So let's just assume that we completed the entire month and we have recorded these amounts. Again, I have already set some amounts as an example. Alright, so these are now your totals for the month for the different expenses. And these are the per day totals. So let's now try to link this one in our main tracker. Guys, please do not overthink again. As what I've said, all you need to do is just put in or record the amounts. All the formulas will be given for you or will be set for you. So just drag the formula from the previous cell. And the same here, drag. So the last step is to compare the budget and the actual amounts. So what we're trying to see here is the difference. The goal is to have a zero or positive difference. So let's just try to compute first. So this is the result of our computation. Zero difference shows us that you exactly follow the amount you set. Your actual amounts are just exactly the same with your budgeted amounts. So we have, for salary, the actual amount is 15, the budget is 15, giving us a difference of 0. This is only true to fixed income and expenses, which do not change per period. Notice that we only have rent, insurance, savings, and salaries with a 0 difference. The rest have either negative or positive differences. So how about these differences? So let's check. For part-time job, you set your targeted income as 5,000. However, after the end of the month, your actual income is only 4,500, giving you a negative difference. So for expenses also, notice that you have a positive difference of 620 for utilities. What is meant by this? You set an amount of 6,000 for utilities. But thankfully, at the end of the month, your only total expense is 5,380, giving you a difference of 620, meaning to say your spending is less than your budget. That's good. How about for your food? Notice you have a negative difference, meaning to say you overspent. You only set 1,000 as your budget, but your actual spending is 1,500, giving you a negative 500. Do not worry if you get negative difference in a particular expense like this one. You have negative for food and transportation, because sometimes it will just be compensated by the positive differences in other expense categories like utilities, groceries, beauty, leisure, and entertainment. So you have positive differences to compensate the negative ones. What you need to do is just to be mindful of that specific expense that you are overspending. So you try to evaluate if you really need to increase your budget for that, or you just need to reduce your actual spending. What you actually need to check is the net income. Are you getting a 0 or positive difference? If you are getting a positive difference, well and good. However, if you are getting a negative amount, it means that you are really overspending, not just in one expense category, but in almost all your expense. You are spending more than what you are earning. So here in our actual results, we only have 25,900 of income, meaning to say our deductions should not exceed this amount. So let's check. Thankfully, our deductions is just 25,274, less than our income, giving us a net income of 626. This is the reason why you need to regularly monitor the expense tracker, because the difference column formulas are already set up. So every time you put the amounts, the difference will be updated. So every time you put an amount here, this will automatically be updated, showing you the remaining amount left for your spending. So for example, on the 15th of the month, you can already see that your beauty expense has a difference of 100, meaning to say you should be alarmed. Tipid-tipid muna, okay? In our illustration, this is good. We have 626 net income. So what does this mean? Meaning to say, aside from the savings of 1,000 that you set aside, you still have another amount which you can either choose to add as your savings, or you just freely spend this one. So this is your free money. You can choose how to spend this one. Okay, so I hope this budget template will help you. Once you're done creating your budget, one important thing to remember is how to stick to it. Okay, number one, you need to change your mindset. So guys, instead of thinking na ano ba to, killjoy, instead of thinking of it as a restriction, why not think of the reasons why you need to budget? Like, think of it as a means of achieving your financial goals. So again, change your mindset. Number two, be realistic with your budget. Honestly guys, when you do your budget, especially if it is your first time, chances are you will be seeing negative differences, okay? But please don't get easily discouraged. That is normal if you're just starting out. But Along the way, if you notice that you still get negative differences, then be sure to check if you are really setting realistic amounts, okay? And another tip is that if you are just first starting out, do not yet copy the finance or budget structures of those who are already financially stable. Promise, you will get frustrated by that. Just don't be too hard on yourself. You will get there through consistent efforts, believe me. Number 3, increase your income. If you have done your best, if you have reduced your expenses, ginawa mo ng lahat, but still, nasa-short pa rin. Meaning to say, maybe what you should focus is not just reducing your expenses, but also finding other ways to increase your income. Lastly, reward yourself. Doing and sticking to your budget is one of the most difficult things to do if you are a first-timer. So once you have done it, reward yourself. But please guys, remember, please do not overspend your money. Remember that your savings will be depleted once you will become unmindful of your spending. So spend the right amount as a reward, okay? So that's it. I hope you learned a lot from this video. If you're still here up to this point, thank you so much guys. And if you find this helpful, please share or spread this with your friends. And if you have any other video suggestions, please comment down below. Thank you again for watching guys. See you next vlog. See you in my next video. Bye.